off a laser. It's dark around here.
Corpses.
Terrible shame.
These creatures did battle with Dwagar.
Yes. Do keep your wits, Shadowheart. Should a dagger suddenly slice your neck, we may never know who's to blame.
If you say so. Just don't expect me to put all my eggs in the same basket.
That expression must sound curious to Githyanki, given the way they're birthed.
Drop your weapons!
I'll feed your innards to the ants before I do that, Istik.
This is your last chance!
No, look up. That was your last chance, Istik. Now burn!
Stop wasting time, Beretta. You're not here to play with the locals.
Of course, Kithrak. We merely sought to...
No excuses. Question, kill, then move on. Find the weapon. Our queen watches us. Fail her at your peril.
A red dragon. I envy its knight. Would that I rode such a steed. A Crech must be near. Come, my kin await. The dragons serve Githyanki. I'll see it does you no harm. Follow me. We are close to the cure we seek. Ryder, my time is short. Lead me to...
Shh, shh, shh. Such a familiar tone. Were I not merciful, I would slice the skin clean from your meat. Yet you are not bleeding. For I am nothing if not merciful. Your name, child?
Lae'zel.
Lae'zel. Proud. Regal, even. A Ghaik vessel has fallen from the sky, Lae'zel. Thieves aboard have taken a weapon most precious. It is polyhedric in shape and inscripted with the sacred runes of our people. Take word to your Crech. You are to join our search. Speak up, child. Affirm your mandate.
You honor me with this duty, Kithrak. I shall alert my caretaker with haste.
The Kithrak nods, content with Lae'zel's answer.
You serve your queen well, child. Take your slaves and hunt those who escaped the Ghaik ship. They must carry the weapon. Vlaakith will see your faith rewarded in this plane and ours. To Danos! To the sky!
Shkaketh! I have followed protocol. He does not speak for Vlaakith. We carry the weapon he seeks. It must be powerful for a Kithrak to betray his own queen's children. He lies. I have devoted my life to my queen. I will be her chosen. It is my due. Search the bodies. We might find a way to the Crech. And beware the skies. We are watched.
What do you want?
Speak, quickly. It is a certainty. I had assumed our parasites served a Ghaik elder, but I believe they serve a greater master still. A question that burns in my belly day and night. Elders and collectives abide by their own tenets. It would require a powerful creed to unite them. And now this voice, this creed, finds our own ears. If it reaches this plane, it may reach others. The Githyanki and his Sarth could not have been far from the Crech. We comb the pass and beyond until we have found it. I would also see Moonrise Towers once I am cleansed. The Tadpole's commander resides there, if my suspicions hold true.
The dog wags his tail, a small bag clenched between his teeth. He gives in and surrenders his find to you. Scratch's tongue lolls out happily, his tail wagging.
You went and messed with goblins without me. If there were a 10th hell, I'd damn everyone to it. You have no idea what you've... Forget it. We push forward, find a cure. We're a team after all, even if it seems you forgot. Living legend in the flesh. Slayer of specters, killer of kobolds. The pride of Baldur's Gate. So you know the stories. All true, I might add. Won't be long before they're telling new tales. Mind flayers, flying ships, dragon attacks. The legend grows. Now, I always save the best stories for my closest friends and my cruelest enemies. Get to be one of those, and I'll spill the whole jug. You get that, right? Spill the whole jug? I guess I'll toss that one in the heap. I'm all ears. Did you see those tiefling kids? Do you reckon our moping and muttering does them much good? They should be chasing frogs, climbing trees, not training for battles they can't win. Those people look at me and they see a hero. Imagine how bad they feel if they were wrong. We find someone to coax out our wriggly visitors. I've had just about enough. Lae'zel says a Gith Crech is the answer. It's time we check it out.
What do you need now? Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again. And clearly the tadpole. If we can't understand it, we'll never control it. And I'm not about to hand control of my life from a vampire lord to those slimy grey beasts.
Ah, good evening to you. I take it you're here to pick me up on that bedtime story you were promised. Marvelous. It's a story full of answers long overdue. It is the story of a man who fell in love. Thank you. Once upon a time, not quite that long ago, there lived a wizard in a tower. The wizard was what one might call a prodigy, who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it, like a musician or a poet. Such was his skill that it earned him the attention of the mother of magic herself, the Lady of Mysteries, Mystra. Love. Perhaps it was not quite love, but you see, the wizard was but a very young man. It was most certainly love to him. Mystra showed him the secrets beneath the veils. The gossamer veils first, draped across the weave. The delicate veils next, draped across her body. Chosen one, she whispered, and she slipped them off completely. Yes, until one day, all too soon, the whispers stopped. The goddess spurned the mortal. The veils were drawn once more, and the wizard was left behind, heartbroken. Like so many of the heartbroken, he did something infinitely foolish. One has to think big if one seeks to win back a goddess. So the wizard thought big. In a word, yes, here goes. Once upon a time, very long ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower, a flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his story for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic unleashed that day was phenomenal, rolling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. A fragment of it was caught and sealed away in a book. No ordinary book, mind you. A tome of gateways that contained within it a bubble of astral plane. It was a fragment of primal weave locked out of time, locked away from Mystra herself. What if, the silly wizard thought, what if after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? So it goes with Wizards of Waterdeep. It is a city filled with the most obscure arcana. He obtained the book and took it into his study. As for what happened next, here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in. Into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, then suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws. It's unstoppable as it digs through you and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Of all things, magic. This Netherese taint, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as it absorbs weave, it remains stable, to an extent. The moment it becomes unstable, however, it will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. It is my truth, finally revealed. It is this folly that led Mystra to abandon me completely. I can only hope that you won't abandon me as well. After all we've been through, surely we can brave even this side by side. That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. It is an honor to call you a friend. Many challenges lie ahead, but in this moment I believe nothing to be insurmountable. What do you say? Should we call it a night, or do you have questions for me? I'll be honest with you. I don't know. She's my muse still, the embodiment of magic. But the embodiment of love? Only if we ever meet again will I know. The orb was kept safe and inert in a pocket of astral plane, suspended in time. If I can somehow manage to expel it from my body while in the astral plane, it will be rendered inert again. Alternatively, I could learn to control its chaotic magic. That is, to succeed where I failed before. But without Mystra's favor, I don't see how that may come to pass. Of course, there could be different answers as well. Faerun brims with more magic than any one wizard could fathom, let alone comprehend. Who knows what outlandish solutions may yet present themselves. Good night, then. And thank you.
What? Fine. What's on your mind? If we hadn't killed the goblins' leaders, they'd have turned that grove to ashes. We're owed quite a debt, I believe. No excuse to rest on our laurels, though. We've still got our own problems to contend with. I don't know what you mean. It's nothing, really. You're not going to let this go, are you? You might wish you had. I worship Shah, the Mistress of the Night. It is my holy mission to oppose Selûne, her teachings and her followers. Now that you have the truth, please don't make a big fuss about it. Forever, ideally. And you assume too much about what I can and cannot tell. Secrecy is everything for Shah's children. It is our code, our creed, our shield. I'm not sorry I kept this from you. Not one bit. Though, perhaps that might change, if you can show an open mind. All right. As I said, Shah is my patron, my mistress. Goddess of darkness and loss. I assume you've heard of her? Well, if that troubles you, perhaps you should fetch the bailiff to arrest me. Ah, but there's no bailiff here, is there? Just leagues of wilderness and the dangers lurking within. We're in this together, but I'll happily go it alone. My faith will keep me company. There's no story. None that you're entitled to hear, anyway. Just forget you ever saw it. I don't have to explain myself to you. Very well. Perhaps there's potential in you. Let's see how you handle this. I am indeed a disciple of Shah, Mistress of the Night and Lady of Loss. I assume you've heard of her? My Lady Shah is the Night Singer, the patron of darkness and loss. Most fear the dark, like children, because in darkness they see their fears reflected. But Shah teaches us to step beyond fear, beyond loss. In darkness, we do not hide. We act. Pain, hope, the promise of better days. All of these are heavy cloaks that bend our backs and burden our hearts. We shed those cloaks. Before Shah, we stand gloriously naked, beyond the vanities of mortals. We tear down the lies the world is drunk on, the institutions they trust, the so-called gods they worship, the lives they cling to. We destroy false idols, topple corrupt organizations, fight heretics wherever they're found. There's often suffering, death even. Many people break before they embrace Shah's truths. You're wiser than most. Many people balk at our doctrine. It's the reason why we cherish secrecy. You surprise me. And not in a negative sense, I must admit. Perhaps, once we've saved ourselves from the tadpoles, we can talk more on this. I don't know. Something to do with the tadpole, who's to say? Another mystery to add to the pile. We don't know how this works, not really. Maybe it varies a little, person to person. Don't worry. It won't matter once we find a cure. And if we don't find one, well, we'll be past our worries then. No. Whatever it is certainly not that. Very. It wanted to lash out at you. Luckily, I was there to stop it and save your life. Anything else? You already know my biggest secrets. What more can you ask? What, besides my life's calling and the greatest problem I've ever faced? Well, I like night orchids and can't swim. Is that the sort of thing you meant? It's nothing to laugh at. Save your questions if that's how you're going to react. She took me in when no one else would. Without her, I wouldn't be alive. She's my mother. She nurtures me, cares for me, loves me. Don't believe the lies the Selûnites tell.
My friend! How do you fare? My research turned up a rather brilliant technique that seems quite actionable.
It's not too deep. Just behind the orbital socket. I could attempt an extraction. I've a needle in my tunic, after all. I assure you, I've dreamt of it 1,000 times over. As you wish, my friend. When the transformation occurs, I can only hope you are far away from me. My friend! How do you...
A fine evening. A peaceful sky above, and nature's nighttime music all around. I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say. It's had the whole region around Moonrise Towers in a chokehold of darkness and despair for years now. Those who remained are shadow-cursed. If you don't die at their hands, then you become one of them. We have to get to Moonrise, but the less time we spend in its blighted surrounds, the better. Precious little, but I'm quite certain it can still be found. Aradin was convinced there was a hidden entrance in the Temple of Selûne. I'd start there. Well, there's hardly anyone left to share the responsibility with. Few who witnessed the fall of Moonrise still draw breath. What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can. I studied the Shadow Curse for years, but to truly understand it and stop it, I must reach its source. Precisely. Then perhaps I could have done something about both the Shadow Curse and Ceremorphosis aberrations. But in my eagerness, I put far too much faith in the abilities of Aradin and his band. We didn't even get close. Wonderfully. If I'm honest, the grove was too comfortable for my tastes. I felt removed from nature. I'll miss my books, but I can find all the wisdom they contain out here firsthand.